The West Coast swing was short and sweet. The Cali boy won in Sin City, and the dub got the dub in the desert. It was perfect weather as usual for a race in Phoenix, and now NASCAR is headed to Thunder Valley, this time without the dirt. It's Crystal, baby, and I'm here with Rocko and Chris, and we are
NightShifters.
Welcome back to the party, guys. Before we get into the race in Phoenix, I was gagged to hear that NASCAR's been in talks with Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, buddy. LA, big city of dreams.
Yeah,
Listen,
my
that's
piece
another
of heaven on earth.
camera.
I'd be 100% on board for that. I'm not really sure what race they're talking about. I don't know if they mean the Clash, because there were talks about the Clash moving to Mexico. So what do you guys think about that? Dodger Stadium hosting a NASCAR race.
Listen, that would be freaking iconic, right?
Yes.
I mean, just think about all the big things that have happened for pennants, right? World Series wins, possibly
We're getting
NASCAR
another one
races.
this year. We're getting another one this year.
Just stop. Stop.
Well, and despite of how big it is to play there, think of the accomplishment that will be achieved once you've already pulling off a race at the Coliseum. You know, and now you're going to go to imagine the venues that open up if this is successful, or even if that happens. You know, now you have Dodger Stadium. Think of all the possibilities across the country with other stadiums similar. I'm thinking of San Diego, Truist Stadium. I'm thinking of places like where it doesn't rain. You know, I'm thinking of like Kansas City. I'm thinking of Phoenix has a nice stadium. I'm thinking of Soldier Field type like venues where, you know, the possibility is endless. And then not only that, you know, just for to have the type of outside the box thinking and to be logistically able to pull it off, you know, it's pretty impressive across the board. You know, when you compare it to other stick and ball organizations, you know, it's pretty impressive what, you know, NASCAR is attempting, what they have already done and what they're attempting to do. So that's what excites me. And I don't mind being in LA in January, February. You know, I don't mind that at all.
Nice. It's nice. Just think about that, Rocko. Look, we put asphalt down 2 times over the football field, right?
True.
Football season came. Well, 3 times.
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah,
it was a washout this year.
Right.
But it still was successful.
We did it, right? And football season came around. You didn't even know we was there.
Facts.
Right? We're like the Boy Scouts. We cleaned it up. Right?
Yeah, I worried about that because I was like, please don't do any damage to my stadium. That is where I grew up. That's home to me. Like the one thing that means home to me is being at Dodger Stadium. You'll see me there every summer, at least for 1 or 2 games. Like that's our family thing to do. And knowing that I grew up in LA, like if you do something iconic like that at Dodger Stadium, the entire city is going to know. And it's not just because of advertising. It's just Dodger Stadium is one of those, it's right in the heart of the city, just like the Coliseum is, maybe a little bit different because it sits atop a hill. We're going to know because of traffic for one, but like anytime we see traffic on the freeway and it's like close to baseball season and it's not quite baseball season, you're kind of questioning like what could be going on there. There's always something going on at Dodger Stadium and it's just a beautiful venue to be at. So I'm 100% on board to whatever they want to do. Maybe if they put it on the outside of Dodger Stadium, not really sure how they're going to make that work. But as an LA girl through and through, I am totally on board for it. I almost feel like it's like a calling from God to do.
NASCAR in LA. I think someone's excited. You know, like your energy just amped up 3 or 4 times just talking about that, Crystal. So you seem very excited about that. Your sweatshirt says it. Hey, but I am too. You know, LA. You know, you can't go wrong with it.
No, well, listen, like I said before, they put on a good show. They posted us well, right?
Yep.
Why wouldn't we go back?
Yeah, I let's do it. So let's talk a little bit about how Phoenix went since now the West Coast swing is completely done. That happened in a flash. I watched from home and I have to say that it was really nice to see Christopher Bell win after he's had some triumphs at Phoenix in general, you know, coming short at the championship was at 2 years in a row now.
But he was there.
What's that?
He was there. But he was there.
Yeah.
You know, you remember this is a young kid, a young team, and he's in the championship representing twice already, even though he came up short. He's there and this is early in this, he's only just turned 20. I think he's 29 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. And on top of that, I just wanted to note that the Fox broadcast did a really good job of covering the pit crew. And I'm wondering if it's just because this is such a pit heavy track, but they were able to get a lot out of the 20 pit crew before we even saw them win. So today we do have the video from Sunday's race. Adam, you want to go ahead and cue that?
Let's check it out.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Blake Houston, front tire changer, former baseball player at Catawba College, 2023 Pit Crew Challenge winner.
Michael Hicks, rear tire changer, the crew chief from my 9-year-old little girl go-kart racing. 50 career plus cup wins, 3-time pit crew competition champion.
Jake Holmes on the tire carrier from Westboro, Massachusetts, former college running back, former Coke 600 winner, and I'm the current pit crew challenge champion.
Derrell Edwards, Baltimore, Maryland, Jackman, former High Point University shooting guard, 2018 Daytona 500 champion, 2019 Xfinity Series champion, and last but not least, Cameron's dad.
Peyton Moore, Bueller, former all-conference linebacker at the KSU.
So,
shooting guard to Jackman. I want to hear that story.
Don't we? Yeah, I thought that was great. So what did you guys think about actually seeing that?
I think it's a good jump, right? They're bringing more attention to more than just the drivers, right? And the pit crew have a very valuable spot in the industry, right? So they can make or break a race, right? They can cap the season.
They can make or break a championship.
Exactly. So it's about time they give those boys the flowers, right? Early, right? And not just highlight them when they make the mistakes, right? Give them their props now. Let the fans know where they come from, the backgrounds. We got ball players to Jackman, fullbacks to tire carriers, like swimmers to gas men. Like the transitions are crazy, right? So way to go.
And it's good too, because at the racetrack, sometimes you don't see those athletes. They wear those helmets and they move so quickly. They're changing tires in under 9 seconds. So, it's good that you're able to not only get valuable information of what's happening so quickly, at the same time, these are guys doing stuff that only they can do in the world. They're the only ones doing what they're doing in the world at that given time. So it's pretty awesome to see.
Well, I know that was awesome to see, and everybody was talking about how we'd love to hear that story of jumping from a shooting guard to a jackman. So I have a special guest for everybody today. We have somebody that just came off of a win at Phoenix Raceway. Welcome to the show, Cameron's dada, jackman of the 20 JGR Toyota of Christopher Bell, Derrell Edwards.
Oh, that Derrell's in the house. Oh, winner, chicken dinner. That boy good. Yeah.
What's up, my guy? How's that champagne taste?
Man, what's up, NightShifters, man? I appreciate y'all for having me on. It feels good. It's always good to win, because you never know when that next one's going to come. So we definitely been enjoying it this week, but we're moving on to Bristol, We got another one.
So almost a week after the win in Phoenix, how does it feel to be playoff bound so early in the season?
I mean, it feels good. It gets the monkey off the back, right? But you still can't get lulled to sleep, or get complacent with that being done, because that's just a small, part of the story. So yeah, but it feels good. Now we get to try things, we get to see where we are, we get to try to figure out the little things that'll matter, come championship time.
So since you are in the playoffs, I just heard you touch on it a little bit. What is going to be some of the stuff that you do focus on moving forward the rest of the season? Because I believe in right after the race, you did the interview with Alex Weaver, and you said you had a little bit of a hiccup on pit road, but you guys adjusted it. So what was the hiccup? And then also, how does that play into your future before the championships?
I don't know if it really plays any role into the championship because it's so early in the season, but we had a hiccup a bunch of guys have on pit road each and every Sunday. Some of them get highlighted and some of them don't. Some of them get thrown under the rug. But yeah, we had a small issue. Nothing really to narrow down. At the end of the day, it wasn't one person. We all were a part of it. We're one band, one sound. But yeah, we come right back and have to do another pit stop, which is I'm gonna elaborate on that, which is tough. You know, when you have a hiccup or something go wrong in a pit stop, you know, you go through all of these emotions. You know, especially like in my earlier career, it would go on. You know, I drag it out to the end of the race. You know, and couldn't respond. You know, but now it being my 10th season, you know, we all responded and we had a good stop after, and ultimately, you know, won the race. You know, with a fast race car. So they're not always going to be pretty, guys. I'm saying that for the audience watching. You know, wins aren't always going to be pretty. And sometimes, for me personally, I don't want them to always be pretty. You know what I mean? I want some adversity. I want some controversy. And it just makes for a better story, in my opinion.
You see me smiling. I need to chime in right now because that sounds like a real veteran OG talk right now. And I think if just from my perspective, when I saw this happen, Derrell, you know, one thing that y'all have going for yourself is you have multiple veterans on your team. And another one that stands out to me is Michael Hicks. Your rear tire changer. It's rare that you get a teammate that has accomplished so many wins. You know, he has over 50 wins himself, not to mention he was a mechanic prior, you know, but before pit crew. So he has a different a different viewpoint when it comes to things going wrong. And I really credit, you know, when that issue happened early in the race, and that is to your advantage because you want mistakes like that to happen early, if you agree, because you don't want those things to happen at the end of the race or on the money stop. So that was a blessing in disguise in itself. 2, you had a fast car, so you knew that you could make up for anything that happened. 3, for your tire changer and your veteran to see that mistake after such a timing issue. And I'm not very familiar with single, you know, lug doing it in full, but it seems like it is a timing issue on the right side where something awry on the right side. There needs to be a communication in place, or if not, the awareness that was displayed by Michael just staying with that lug, not allowing you to go over to the left side and making sure it got done, to make sure that tire didn't come off, to the point where that was such a fast car. If that tire would have came off, the race would have been over then. But the fact that was done, I feel like that is what saved the day and ultimately put y'all in position to be there at the end. And that is, I feel like not a lot of stories like that get highlighted to the point where that's the type of experience and the type of accountability that needs to be held, where you have to command that position. And I think Mike Hicks represented that very, very well.
Well, we brought that up earlier, Rocko, when we talked about the veterans being on squads versus the Devo guys, right? So that's a prime example right there of where that veteran, right, with multiple years, multiple wins, acknowledged that early.
Over 50
right?
wins.
Then you got the Jackman, who's also a veteran.
Yep.
Right? So
Daytona 500 winner, Xfinity champion. And then when he's in position to win every single day. Now, I don't think a lot of pit crew members or a lot of people who watch this sport understand there is a difference from pitting a race car when you're in position to win and when you're supposed to win, as opposed to just doing a job, you know, just finishing the race. So, I mean, I know that's a loaded and that's a lot we threw at you, Derrell, but you know, seeing that during the race, you know, I feel like Chris and we were yelling at the screen.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a heads up play by Michael Hicks, man. And I don't really expect nothing else from him. That guy is just he's in the game, you know. The pit stop is slow motion for him. And you mentioned something early, Rocko. The one lug nut dynamic, man, has changed everything. You know, we've been 3 years now, and it's fast, man. Like, it's crazy because there's like a fine line, especially from this quarterback Jackman standpoint. You know, the minute you say, "Oh, I'm gonna check off on this guy, I'm gonna really make sure he's got it," he's gone. You know, and you've actually lost time double checking to make sure. So there's like a fine line that you got to live on, man. Risk versus reward, right? And we in my group, we've been together 3 years, and we've kind of flirted with that line a bunch. You know, my first year in the one lug deal, I was suspended twice, you know, back when it was a 4-week suspension. So like we kind of talk amongst each other, and we don't have that fear of messing up. We kind of aren't afraid to live on that edge. A lot of guys haven't felt what that feels like to have a tire come off. A lot of guys haven't felt what it feels like to sit at home for weeks on end, miss races. I mean, I missed 2 months the first year of this one lug nut stuff. And we just don't have that fear, man. So we're going to continue to live on the edge. And right now, with being in a position in the playoffs, why not, right? You know what I mean? That's just that approach. And when you haven't felt those things or those outcomes after living on the edge, you're kind of worried about them. And ultimately, that's going to result in.
I love it. And that's the type of mentality you have to have.
Yeah, that's preach it, brother, right there. That's true words spoken from a solid veteran in the sport right there.
Yeah, man. No, it's crazy. The one luck's stuff. There ain't a lot of clarity in it, but man, you just gotta go with your gut, go off of, your training, your preparation. You gotta train on the edge, you gotta prepare on the edge. That's the only way you feel comfortable. But like I said, this particular group that's been together 3 years, we faced it all. We've seen almost every outcome, good, bad, ugly, but we're also mentally strong enough to move on from it. We aren't afraid of what commentators may say. We aren't afraid of what the audience may say. We're here to go fast. That's all it's about at the end of the day.
Speaking of which, Crystal, don't you have what the commentator said about Derrell, or don't we have a clip? If we could just play that, you could hear Michael Hicks. And when you hear it played, listen to where the TV broadcast, listen to what Clint says about the crew members. If we have that, do we have that?
So the wheel didn't make it over the drive pins, and it was kind of stuck. So I had to stay on the lug nut just to ensure and watch that the back of the wheel made it to the back plate. So that's what, sometimes you gotta stay there longer to make sure the wheel's tight, and that's what I had to do.
Well, I appreciate your time, Mike. We celebrate when they do good, and we appreciate when they talk when something goes sideways and they have a slow stop too.
Oh, absolutely. And that took him from the lead to 10th leaving pit road.
A lot better than letting that wheel come loose. Well, right? That's a bigger penalty. That's a heads-up veteran move. Michael Hicks has been around this block a long time. That was a good move by him. You could see just how long it took him to get that wheel tight.
Now, that's great that they get that insight. But not everybody can do that, because at the end of the day, as soon as that camera leaves, you have to get ready and do another stop. You have to get ready to perform and not make a mistake, not be distracted, short-term memory. And not everybody is built for that. You are essentially entertaining and performing. And after that mistake, to bust off 3-4 more stops after, put your car in position, I just have to give you a heads up, and y'all deserve that win right there. And at the end of the day, the reason why you're in position to be in the playoffs is because of performance like that. So good job.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Boys.
Definitely a heads up play, man. And it's funny, I kind of want to talk about like where my headspace was at in that moment. Like, just coming from a position standpoint of Jack, man, I gotta be calm, cool, and collected when those kind of situations happen, because everyone's looking at me, right? Right. If something happens, if Tom Brady throws, an interception, if LeBron misses a game winner, everyone's looking to see how they respond, how they react. You know what I'm saying? So I am super calm, and I take that approach, man. And I talked to you, off camera about this, Rocko, before. Staying calm. I'm at peace. This is year 10 for me. Like, I've seen it all, and it's over. So I put that expectation on my guys. Dude, there's nothing you can do about it now. It's done. Next stop mentality. That's what I preach to my guys. Next stop mentality. Bro, you're going to have that. People in the audience, they don't understand how fast we're moving and trying to do our job at a high level. It's going to happen. And you just got to forget about it, man. You got to. There's nothing you can do. There's no reason to get emotional. There's no reason to be mad. You can be frustrated at the end of the race or when you get home, but you got more stops to do. And it's going to be places where you have those things early at a Coca-Cola 600 miles long. Then what do? You going to carry that emotion for 5 hours and mess up the rest of your day? No. Next stop mentality is what I preach to my guys, as the Jack, man.
But that's the difference right there between those that excel and stay on the top, right, and win races and compete for championships, than those that just do pit stops, right? And there's a big difference that we just saw, right? So hats off to you for that, man, and preaching to your boys about staying calm. And
can I pick your mind real quick while I got you? Did y'all ever, in your pre-race meeting going into the race at Phoenix, we knew how big of an advantage the first pit box would be. That's a huge advantage. Did y'all even talk about that? Did that even come up in your conversation? Because, and not only that, your teammate, the The 11 car is trending up in a major way. They are setting times like no other. They're denoted as the fastest pit crew. Says setting time, astonishing times. They're qualifying well, which could be a contributor not only to them and their veteran status as well, but their driver, Denny, who's very good at manipulating, pit road as well. But did that come up in your conversation in your pre-race meetings, the fact that they had that pit box? Or how does that how do y'all handle that pre-race with your team?
Well, it came up briefly. We knew, we practiced with those guys. So just to give everyone that's listening on insight on that, the 20 and 11 pit crew, we practice every day, every week together, so we see those guys. We know how good they are. They know how good we are. And yeah, that it's certain places that you go where that pit stall one dude is like a super advantage. And Phoenix is one of those places. The timing line, the camera is literally probably, I believe it's a half a pit stall away or something, or maybe a full pit stall. But that ain't much for the driver to, smash the gas and get to that. You know what I mean? It's around the corner. So we talked about it briefly, but that was out of our control. I preach on controlling the controllable. We know that good. We know that driver's good. We know they had pit stall one, but ultimately, just like the hiccup that we had, we knew we could only beat ourselves. And we had a hiccup, but we responded. So it just was what it was. You know what I mean? It's us versus us. You know what I mean? We know we're arguably one of the fastest on pit roads as well. You know what I mean? We know we've done some special things on pit road too.
So another question here. Let's talk for the young kids out here that might catch a clip of this. Coming from the court, hooper, baller, right? Outside of the mental toughness, right? What are some of the things that you brought with you from your court experience to being a jackman?
Yep.
You read my questions, Chris.
Great question.
Yeah. So Chris, I would have to go further back than that, right? I would have to go about, where I'm from. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, a tough inner city kid. So, me playing ball, I was never really like the biggest, the tallest. I'm also proud of myself on being one of the toughest, and mentally, I feel like Baltimore has prepared me for where I'm at today. I even write on my pit shoes, and this will be fun for the audience, I have seen worse. So the way I've grown up and the things that I've seen as a young child or growing up, pit stops are just pit stops. They're fun. Basketball is just basketball. It's something that, at an early age that I decided to use as a tool to basically ultimately get the way I'm at today. I used basketball up. I got to the Division I level, but left my mark as well. I was a high school state champion, a junior college national champion with a record of 36-0. I went to my Division I and won back-to-back regular season champions. And then I go early in my career in NASCAR and win a Daytona 500, which is funny because it feel like I've been going backwards because that's probably, that's like the biggest win you can get, besides a championship, which that's kind of the, the view now, that's the one that I'm chasing. Wins are wins, but at the end of the day, the next goal for me is a championship. And but basketball translates, man. Well, once again, I was a leader, I was a captain, just strong will, man. When you're on that free throw line and you got all these fans shouting at you, and you got to knock down those free throws and, pressure moments, now the fans are far away. So in my opinion, I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's a different, environment, like I said, I love to talk about, I tell this to guys all the time. I talk to Joel a lot, who's a jackman on 11. Bro, I'm not guarding you, right? Because some guys like to take it personal as far as these pit crews and pit stops. But at the end of the day, I'm not guarding you one-on-one. You really just got to beat yourself. You really just got to, be better as a team, and that's what I preach to my guys. We're not battling 11. We're not battling the 5. We just got to beat ourselves. It's us versus us, But basketball is translated well, man. From me I think about stuff like me being down in a defensive stance and having to, shuffle left, shuffle right. That stuff really translates for me when it comes to getting around a car, getting low to play defense. All of those little things, in my opinion, translated well for me. And it's funny because I talked to a lot of guys up and down pit road. I'm one of the rare true basketball, college Division I basketball players. you run into a lot of guys up and down pit road. A lot of guys aren't saying I play basketball. You know what I mean? So I take pride in that and putting on for the basketball guys that out there.
Yeah.
He's right about that. They all meatheads like us, Chris.
Yeah.
Football.
I mean, I thought about that. Yeah, most of the time when we're talking about pit crew athletes, we jump to football so often. So I think that's why Mike Joy even said it on the broadcast. He was like, hold on, guard to pit crew. And what's crazy is like, I don't think not too many people will understand that your position as a jackman is basically the leader of that pit crew team. If I'm not correct, let me know.
You're right. You're right.
Like the pit stop begins and ends with a jackman.
Just like the point guard leads the play, just like the point guard runs the offense for a basketball team, I think that's a strength that Derrell has used in his position, because your jackmen typically were your bigger defensive mindset players, and he has brought a calculated calmness to that position where he sees the whole court, as to say, when he's across, when he has the jack in the hand. And not only that, you have to be kind of strong with it too. So you might have made a pretty good football player, at the same time, so.
1 year of football, man, in my life, my senior year in high school. And that was because those other 3 years, you had the football coach like, man, you soft. You will not. They like, you will not. You're doing everything to not come out on this football field. But, ever since I was 6 years old, I've been playing basketball. And it's weird that I never, strayed off. I played a little bit of baseball as well. But, yeah, man, my senior year, I say, all right, I got a Division I scholarship. Let me bulk up. Let me get banged around a little bit. So I went and played a wide receiver. I scored 9 touchdowns.
Ooh, that boy bad.
Yeah, man.
Two-sport athlete.
Fun fact, I actually got a Division I offer from Elon College, but I was already signed for basketball.
That's dope.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Talking about basketball, you guys realize that coming up the following week is going to be March Madness for the men's tournament. How do you feel about that? By the way, I realize that High Point is #1 in the Big South. My alma mater is #1. In the Big 12. So
our Deeks took an L in the ACC
is not
tournament.
#1 anywhere.
Anyways.
Yeah,
but how do you
High Point lost as well, so.
We lost. Yeah, Deeks lost in the ACC tournament, so hopefully they get seeded in the big show. Maybe they'll get the NIT, but shoot, F the basketball, man. Well, one more. Hey, while I got you here, Derrell, I need some more insight, man. I need some more insight, because we all know we just left Phoenix, and that's where we're going to race for the championship, right?
Yeah.
JGR alone, Toyotas alone showed their ASS at Phoenix. They dominated. I mean, they really balled out, and that's got to be really cool to know that, if you do well in the playoffs and you end up there in the Final Four with the success that y'all have had there, that's one of the tracks I feel like teams have to try everything they can performance-wise, because the pit stops, yes, by then you should have that under control, but you're going to have a fast car against those others. So, I mean, you got to feel pretty good about that, being that we end up there at the end of the year, correct?
Yeah, man, I feel really good about it. That's one of Christopher Bell's favorite tracks. He loves it, man. And like you said, with this new body that we got and the performance that we put on, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, JGR, all of JGR cars led at least 50 laps or something, was a fun fact that came out, which was cool. But yeah, just once again, that's that confidence, right? I feel like confidence is 80% of everything that you do in life and your mentality. So we're definitely going to be confident going into Phoenix, man. And that just feels good, as a pit crew. And hopefully, because I think we qualified 13th or something. So you imagine if you qualify a little better, get yourself in a better position, maybe a better pit stall pit, because we were on a back stretch in pit stall 38, which isn't easy, knowing how that pit road is and going around the corner. So, yeah, it feels good. It feels good. Definitely.
And we're going to Bristol, and he balls out at Bristol.
All right. Well, we'll get to Bristol in a little bit.
I got my own opinions on it. But.
I was about to say, we can talk about that in a minute if you'd like. But,
sorry, Crystal.
I wanted to kind of draw back to you being a veteran. So this has been 10 years, and they kind of highlighted that you also won a Daytona 500. So I believe that's 2 Daytona 500 wins in the talk right now in the conversation, right? But I think let me get this correct. You have yours with Austin Dillon, and I believe did Austin Dillon get his before Kurt, or do I have that backwards?
He got his after Kurt because he wrecked Eric Almirola for the win.
Yes, he did.
Okay, because I believe you've been
Sorry
credited.
about that.
I just want to make sure this is correct information, because you've been credited with being the first African American pit crew athlete, over the wall athlete, to obtain a Daytona 500 win. So what did that feel like for you?
It felt good, and I'm gonna be honest. I had no idea what it meant at the time. I was a guy coming out of college, didn't have no background of cars, knowing anything about NASCAR, didn't watch any races, and I believe this was fairly early in my Cup career. I think I went from like Brendan Gaughan in 2016 to Paul Menard, the Cup Series in 2017, to Austin Dillon in 2018. And I go and win the first race, which is the Daytona 500. And I had no idea because I was just showing up to do pit stops. And like, that's how green I was, getting to the sport. But I was good enough physically, athletically to like end up on a 3-car. And they did enough to have him at the end of the race. And like Chris said, he did what it took to, bring home a victory on my part. I had no idea. Showed up to do my job and get a call like a week later, like, dude, I think you made some history. And I'm like, you serious? What history?
You made some damn history. Ask me and Chris how many times we finished second at that darn race, trying to win the great American race. How many times I lost count of how many times I finished second there, and you win it. That's a special moment.
I thought I had them back to back. I was about to red 2 rings. Nope. Forget about it.
Well, last but not least, at least coming from me, I just wanted to know what it's like having such a wild schedule, because, Rocko has talked about it, how he, didn't take any weekends off. And Chris, I know he balanced it out as well, but especially with you mentioning your son and being Cameron's dada, we've seen you we've seen you travel the world and also stay very focused. So how do you balance it all?
I've understood, and like I said, in year 10 now, I really worked on, after last season, the mental side of things. I was like, all right, man, you work your butt off, you work out hard, you do all of this stuff, you jack the car, you try not to even take an off season, you just on this car. But this year I kind of took a break. I took a step back from it to trial and error. What would that be like? And at the end of the day, you got to think, this 10 years, right? So that means I'm getting older. I got to work smarter now. You know what I'm saying? I can't like keep bang, bang, bang. With it being a 36-week, I got to be strong come, playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So I do take breaks. I work out differently. My workout regimen is totally different this year than it's ever been. I'm more focused on mobility, core, eating right, nutrition, and recovery. I've been really dialing in my recovery because in 9 years, I've done nothing. I go to the track, I practice hard, I go home, and that's it, and that's week after week. Now I'm getting in the sauna. I'm doing, contrast work. Sauna.
Got that sponsor. That sponsor. Plug the sponsor.
But shout out to Freedom LKN in Mooresville. I partner with them guys, for my recovery as an athlete. I cold plunge, sauna, cold plunge. I'm Normatec boots, hyperbaric chamber, infrared. I'm doing like a lot. You pay attention to guys like LeBron, right? Probably the oldest player in the NBA, right? And look how he looked. Look how he's still performing. But what I saw was he spent $1 million on his body per year. That really resonated with me. I'm like, dude, if you really want to be at the top of your game and arguably be one of the oldest guys in a few years or whatever and still be talked about as elite, you got to start taking care of your body. So I take breaks, Crystal. I take time off. I'm real family oriented. My son is almost 2 years old, so I take pride in that. But I'm not afraid to take. I used to take breaks and feel bad about it. I felt like I was doing something wrong.
Guilty.
Yeah, I felt that guilty, but now it's like, no, man, you're just being smart. You're listening to your body, you're optimizing. It's a long season. It's been seasons where I used my all too early, and come playoff times, I was like, oh my god, 10 more.
Blew that wad.
Yeah. So, and that was last year actually. So I've learned from all of that. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty balanced now on how hard I'm working as well as how well I'm resting, eating, and recovering.
Young guys, I hope y'all listening.
Yeah.
Partnered with a health spa. Partnered with a health spa, investing in his body, investing in his nutrition. At the end of the day, he's an athletic performer. So he's investing in what gets him the bag.
Yep.
Yeah, not only that, it's just he's prolonging his entire career, you know?
Yeah. Yep. And I also partner with a health and nutrition place in Denver, North Carolina, LK Nutrition. So as far as all my protein, my hydration, when we travel on these races, I mean, guys, you got to think this West Coast swing, we're traveling so much, like people don't really talk about that side of things. So like I'm in CEPs, you know, the leg things, you know, trying to keep that inflammation down because I'm doing those little things because we're trying to gain little time. We're trying to gain hundredths. We're trying to gain tenths. So I'm like, Derrell, do the little things, man, because you're only trying to gain time that people can't even see. People can't even hit on a stop.
Little adds up.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Kyle Busch said it one time early in my career over the headset. He said, gain an inch every lap. And when that dude said that, it put things in a perspective on how him as one of the best drivers ever, how he thinks about when he drives. You think about how much an inch is. And he's talking about gaining that every lap. You would think as an artist, you think you're never going to win. But no, that guy and that approach has worked. So I'm trying to gain hundredths. So I'm doing the little things and see how that pays off in the end. And right now, we got a good start because we're already in playoffs.
Awesome. Well, I know these guys are itching to start talking about Bristol. If you want to hang around and talk with them, I am totally on board with that. But if you have other obligations, you are free to go. I don't have any more questions to put you on the hot seat today.
Yeah. No, real quick, I know he's got to go too. I just want to know your thoughts on Bristol. We know Christopher Bell runs well there. We know pit stalls are important there. Could you just break down to all of us and everybody before you go? Just because me and Chris can talk after you leave. You know, I don't want to, about this. You know, we can really talk after you leave. You know, about you. But at the end of the day, what are your thoughts on Bristol? Talk to us like we were a 5-year-old watching the race. What makes Bristol so exciting?
Bristol is one of my favorite tracks. Bristol gives you that sport that you came from feel. You know, whether you play football, whether you play basketball, you know, you get that dome setting, right? You know, you walk down the track, you understand just how much banking these drivers are driving on, which makes them pros. You get a different respect. Just walking down into Bristol, you like, yeah, these guys are pretty good, right? But Bristol is super cool, fast, man. And it's crazy. It's not a lot of pit stops there. We talked about that as a company this week. It's like 4 pit stops, man. So they all got to count. But Christopher Bell, he'll be strong, man. He'll be strong there. I think we finished 4th in the fall there. And that was solely due to us trying to gain points in the playoffs at that point, strategy-wise. We were first when we came down, and we just waited on fuel because we needed to make it to the end. But I think he won both stages as well. So I think we'll be strong, man.
You hear me?
Yeah, it'll be fun. Bristol's cool. Bristol's one I definitely look forward to for sure.
Well, awesome. Good luck at Bristol. And if you want to stick around, like I said, you're more than welcome to. But other than that, we appreciate having you on the show. And I really loved hearing your story and having you add a little bit more to, their pit crew analysis and how your weekend went.
Thank
you, man. Thank you.
Y'all are night shifters. I'm a dad now. Gotta go.
Night.
Appreciate you, Rel.
Thank you.
That was good. Derrell, boy, he had me all motivated.
That was good right there, dog. I might want to put my fire suit back on one
yeah,
more
he
time.
does. Had me wanting to suit back up.
He did at Phoenix at the championship.
Had me thinking I could again. I think I could.
It's got me knowing I never can. I don't have the knees, the back, the hips. I don't have it. And I'm younger than you guys.
No, but he brought up some good points. Bristol, they have to manage non-ideal pitting situations all race, and it's like racing in a giant, loud cereal bowl. It was one of my favorite tracks as well. It had a very football-like vibe. You can see the cars driving the entire time around the track. You're engaged the entire race, and it is a low-key long race. You don't do a lot of pit stops, but it's a long race at that little racetrack there, and it's very tight pit stalls. Your butt cheeks are constantly clitched when you're pitting there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been there a couple times, and I've noticed that the pit stalls go all the way around the track essentially, so it does look a little bit cramped. So can you guys speak on that a little bit more, other than just your butt cheeks being clenched?
Well, you have pit road on both sides, right? So half of the field will be on the back stretch, and half of the field will be on the front stretch. And what you don't want to happen is you have to make a green flag pit stop during the race, because you will go multiple laps down on green flag stops in Bristol. It is one of the worst places to have a situation on the racetrack because of pit road speed, and it's the fastest half a mile we go to. So with that alone, man, you want to prepare for those long green flag runs, and you'll see those cars that are good on the short runs and fall to the back, and those cars that are good on the long runs and come to the front. So like Rocko said, it holds your attention from lap 1 to the last lap.
The best way to prepare for that too is qualifying. You want one of those ideal pit boxes. There are 4 pit boxes that you will have to win this race, and they're all positioned in the corners of that little small racetrack. So qualifying is going to be super important, because the likelihood to get boxed in behind another driver, to have to come around another driver, and when you're making adjustments during a race and you're coming around another car, it is a pit stop killer. And unless your car really activates around those adjustments, you're not going to, you heard Derrell say it, they're not going to have a lot of opportunities to wrench on this car. They're only expecting maybe 4 to 5 pit stops. So you have to take advantage of each and one of those opportunities. And if being blocked in behind a team, that could totally ruin your race. So you have to get one of those big pit boxes. This will be a race of attrition. You're going to have to manage you can't have engine failures. You can't have part malfunction. It's going to stress these cars. It's going to test the power steerings of these cars. It's going to be hard to get in and out these boxes. And one of the biggest advantages these teams are going to have is the consistency that comes with their drivers blending in and off of pit road, getting in that box, hitting their marks, and allowing that pit stop to go as smooth as possible, because track position is going to be so key at Bristol.
Yeah, remember this too, Rocko. They only get 25 minutes to practice.
Facts.
Unlike last week where they had 50-minute practice in Phoenix, so you got to unload ready to go in Bristol.
You got to do that, and I feel like like I said, I'm curious to see how the Chevys do. Kyle Larson is a favorite to win this race. I think he averages 5th place, the past 4 races there. At the same time, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell are strong there. It's going to be very exciting to see, and Kyle Busch, he has the most wins of any active driver there, with a JGR car. But I'm curious to see, with RCR, this is going to be a true test to how he translates over there, because we all know how good Kyle Busch is in a JGR car, at Bristol. And last year he had some issues there. I really want to see that team bounce back. I need my Paul Swan guys over there in Welcome. I know how hard they're working to compete, at a high level. So really want to put some positive energy to my RCR guys, putting positive energy to my Hendrick boys for obvious reason, and Derrell and them JGR guys and them Toyotas. They're going to be good. And then, I can't forget about you and them Stewart House guys over there. Noah Gregson, he's going to be good at Bristol.
He's been doing well.
Noah, he's doing it.
Yeah.
I like Noah. He's been a breath of fresh air for you guys over there at Stewart House.
Briscoe's good there on the short tracks.
Yep, he sure is.
Yeah, Ryan Priest is a short track. And listen, I'm waiting to see what my man Josh Berry's going to do, man. I'm waiting for him to break out and just dominate right now, like we feel he can do.
He's like coiled up and ready to strike,
Oh, man, yeah. I feel
So
like that taste is over.
What are your feelings about it being, finally a spring race that doesn't have dirt? And
Thank
first of all,
God.
what was going on with pit crews during the time that we did have dirt? Were you guys in the normal pit stalls? Because I don't.
Ignoring it, protesting because we wanted to be there. We weren't needed, because they didn't do pit stops in the dirt. So I hated it already because I felt like I wasn't utilized. They didn't need us.
They treated it like a late model race. Time break, make your change, and go back out as you can.
Yeah, that's right. So now that it's back to concrete, is everybody happy now?
Yes, because my shoes won't get dirty. I don't have to wear a mask to watch the race. I don't like getting dirty. Watching race.
I regret not making it to that because I come from a background where I went to like motocross and supercross and
Crystal, because you didn't have to clean all the equipment and the gear in the shop when it got back. You just enjoyed the experience. But for everybody who was creating it, we had to get clean from that dirt and that filth from that dirt track. And I didn't grow up in a dirt racing, so don't take my opinion on it. I am not a dirt racer, but
Me
I still think of it as a strange concept in general, just because of the windshields and everything. It just seems complicated. It looks like it might be entertaining, but it just looks complicated for drivers and everybody else involved.
You can tell we're post 80s in the NASCAR. Post 90s. We're post 90s era NASCAR. I'm bad. We're post 90s, post 2000
era. We all
know
how old you are.
I'm older than I look.
Pillow under my chair.
Yeah.
So do you guys have any opinions on the short track package that we had at Phoenix, knowing that, it's not considered like a real short track, although, 2 of the turns are like a short track and 2 are like whatever. Half of it's a speedway, half of it's a short track. But we're not going to see that short track package here. We're going back to the intermediate. So does that matter to you guys in the pit crews?
No, I don't. I mean, for the pit crew perspective, right? Like the package doesn't dictate the type of pit stop you have, right? So that really only dictates how the cars race together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So from a pit crew perspective, the packages don't matter. That's more on the engineering, race strategy aspect of the pit stops. I guess the only effect that it have if you stay grouped up. Now you're pitting closer together, right? You don't have the big gaps in the 3 or 4 seconds from the leader to second place, which then congest pit road. So that might have a small effect, but the overall is more about how they race on the track versus pit stops.
Absolutely. And the biggest difference you see is mainly on super speedway packages is when, the tires in the droop, the tires don't fall out of the car when you jack it up. That is the biggest interference, just the tires not coming out. As far as the short package, the intermediate package, the biggest effect that you might see is just that it becomes more of a fuel mileage race where, like Derrell said, you're not going to get a lot of opportunities to pit the car. So the biggest adjustment you're going to have to make is just taking advantage of each pit stop you get, not getting the opportunity to get another chance to correct the error. Right. And, now that we got Derrell off the line, I really I have to put my coaching hat back on because I feel like, Derrell brought up a very good point. We're not highlighting the good things that happen, and there are a lot of good pit stops going down. And although the 20 had that issue early, a lot of these issues with these lug nuts and these loose wheels, we said it on the last show. It starts with the tire index. If you want to call it, I used to call it a tire exchange. Jamie Little on Fox, she called it an engagement. The engagement between the changer and the tire carrier, or jackman. Whoever is putting that tire on, it just comes down to this, y'all. You have to put that tire on flush, solid against the hub. Let me give you a little tip, carriers and jackmen who have to put a tire on. Put your target 5 inches behind the hub. That way you can put that wheel firmly against it and not just set it on the tip and have the changer push it on with his gun. That's where these issues are happening, where the changer has to stay and ratchet it on. If your tire carrier was solidly indexing these tires like a beast with some force on that tire, on that car, that would negate the problem almost 100%. And the tire changer will feel 100% comfortable following him with that gun if he knows that tire is going to be on the way it should. and not being shortchanged because he's worried about getting back to his jack or worried about getting to the tire. Put the tire on, guys, and take care of step one before you take step two. I'll get off my soapbox off of that. I just have watching all these pit stops. It drives me crazy, y'all. I watched every single pit stop from that race. I'm yelling at the TV. Can we get some good index? The 11 car, the 11 car stood out. Yes, solid beast mode index. And 5 car, he puts that tire on very well. The 9 car, very, very well. 20 car, very, very well. And I want to shout out to the 43 car, Scott Riddle. You know, staying with your tire changer when he had that issue on the left front, that saved the race for you as well. Eric Jones came in on a pit stop as well, and the front tire, they had a very good shot of that tire carrier being a beast, you know, and providing a bit of accountability for his tire changer by putting that tire on the way it should be. So shout out to all my tire carriers and my jackmen who are doing it the right way. Let's keep it going, and I'll be watching. You best believe that.
It's the little things, like Derrell said. It's the little things that make
they add up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's a photo. You just mentioned tire carrier that I believe I saw earlier in a Facebook group somewhere. Whose tire on a plane went down? And you guys were like, hold on, I'm going to send this to Adam because I want the world to see it. It was too funny.
It was somebody having a joke. I was on my way to Phoenix and we got a flat tire on our plane. We literally had to deboard the plane for a flat tire. And of course, everybody saw me sitting in the exit row and they had the running joke. Oh, Rocko, we got a flat tire. Boy, I bet you could change that tire real quick. And Blaine Sellers, or the meme master, created a meme very, very quickly of me with a tire in my hand running around the plane changing the tire.
I just sent it to Adam. I need him to show it as soon as he gets it. But I mean,
that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Sitting in the emergency row, knowing that I need the legroom, I'm always there, so I know the rules. They ask you verbally to say yes. That in case of an emergency, are you willing to assist? And I think that, like, if you are in a case where they do need to change the tire, I think you could get it done a lot faster than anybody at the airport can. So, Adam,
right.
You got that yet?
Hey, do you know Hugh? Do y'all know Hugh?
No.
Hugh, damn right. I can do it faster. Yeah. That's a little NASCAR humor for you. Hugh, damn right. Your boy can change a tire faster than a there's a bear poo in the woods. Yes.
Hey, NASCAR 101 right there. Welcome to the
I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if it'll make it into the clip, but we'll just
there it is. There it is.
Hey,
classic. on Rocko.
But look at that form, boy. Look at that form. You know, I had the tire in the outside. Boy, I was gonna get. I'm ready.
Well, I thought it was so funny when I saw that. So when you said tire carriers, I was like, please, we have to put that on the show. And it just completely left my mind. So that does it for, Phoenix, Bristol. I'm glad we got a chance to talk to Derrell. It's always great to have somebody on here post-win. Like when we had Cap on here, he was coming off of a win as well. We're going to COTA after this, right? So Circuit of the Americas, It is an F1 track. Road course, we're going to be turning right. So doesn't that mean that the pit stalls are reversed, or they not reversed, but they pull in differently, or is that only at Indy?
They're not reversed here. They're reversed at Watkins Glen, and they're reversed at one more track. Is it Sonoma? No.
I thought it was Indy, like the Indy road course, or am I wrong?
No. The Roval.
I don't know.
Chris, come on, help me out here, man.
Roval's the same way.
Well, we know they're reversed at Watkins Glen.
Road America.
But
we don't go there anymore.
They took that track out.
We're in Chi-Town now. We're in Chicago. Chi-Town.
Wait, are the pit stalls are normal in Chicago too for the street race, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So what are just a few things that we can look forward to at COTA?
Well, you can look, not a lot of pit stops there. It is a road course race, and it's going to be very strategic. You're either going to be on a 2-stop or 3-stop pit stop strategy, and the crew members are going to look at this race as somewhat a vacation, especially after
I've heard that sometimes they don't even bring the over-the-wall crew, right?
Oh, no, you're going to bring the over-the-wall crew.
Or they switch people around for the road course. I've seen this happen on a couple of, the smaller teams, so I'm not sure if that's, all over.
Put it this way, pit stops aren't as prioritized on the road course races because the fuel is the most important factor. So you're only going to do 2 to 3 pit stops. And if they are backwards, you're more on the side of just getting the stop done right as opposed to getting it fast, because most of the time you're going to be waiting on fuel anyway. And when you're doing a new choreography, when you have to go backwards, you're going to be a little bit slower. So, you don't practice that as much as you do your regular pit stops. So, you're going to see a little bit slower, more
naturally you're going to slow down going in reverse.
More methodical approach.
Yeah. You're more calculated in your movements when you're going backwards in your stops.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to watch this weekend's festivities. I'm looking to see if there's going to be some friction between a couple of drivers. I know some drivers have a history there. One of them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of beating and banging. We're short track racing, so the energy will be high.
You gotta say
it's gonna be exciting.
We're short track racing.
Oh, we forgot about Raja Karoof too, because Raja's racing Saturday night too.
Maybe he can go back to back.
Back to back. I would love to see Raja go back to back in his truck race.
I think we need to get him on here if he does.
We do. We need to get him on.
I wanted to give him some space.
Raja, we need you on here.
Yeah, we do. So I'm gonna give him a call, Rocko.
Yeah, we'll give him a little nudge. We'll see how he runs.
Just make sure that he gets his homework done.
Yeah, he does. He's good about that. He's one of those aliens. He's not from here.
You just said the last time you said he's been here before. Which one is it?
Well, he's been here before, and he's an alien. So that's why he's so successful.
Works for me. Well, thanks for joining us or coming together for one more night shift.
Yep.
I need to go get a nightcap. Huh?
It said night shifters.
Night shifters. I gotta go hook up with Derrell, and the boys. They down there at Fahrenheit tonight. You coming out there, Chris?
Nah. I'm on the home front, baby.
I got that hall pass tonight. It's all good.
What's Fahrenheit?
What's Fahrenheit? Google it. It's Fahrenheit Charlotte downtown. It's a nice little upscale rooftop restaurant. They sponsor OEM, so they're friends of the program.
All right, awesome. Well, you guys have a good night. I'll be watching the race here in rainy Las Vegas.
Yes. Good to see you.
Everybody root for my school for March Madness.
Wherever you watch your podcast.
That's right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Ooh, in the shoes. Ooh. All right, y'all. Yeah.